listening to Unfiltered with Muhammad Uncut, a podcast about personal growth and authentic leadership. If you're looking for tips on how to manage others, get ahead, and make your way up the corporate ladder, this is not the show for you. This podcast is about being of service to others, leading from the heart, and evolving into a better version of yourself. Each episode brings you motivated stories about unfiltered leadership and authentic leaders, those who involve others, use their influence to amplify diverse perspectives, and inspire teams to achieve collective results. If this sounds like you, keep listening. Welcome to the Unfiltered Podcast. This is the podcast for leaders who involve others, use their influence to help them rise, and inspire them to become better versions of themselves. The Unfiltered Podcast showcases leaders who lead from the heart to make a positive change. And today, we have with us Mr. Hany Adam. Hany comes with a reputation for placing clients' needs and goals and objectives at the forefront and of every transaction. Hany Adam provides communication, reputation, negotiation management, and skills in combination with in-depth knowledge of the Mississauga-Milton area, Oakville and Burlington neighborhoods as well. And he looks after the real estate market where it counts. Hany puts clients first, and today we're going to hear about how he does that. We're going to talk to Hany. What does he believe about leadership? And why does he believe he's a leader who leads from the heart? He's an unfiltered leader. So Hany, welcome. Thank you for being on the Unfiltered Podcast.
Thank you so much, Muhammad, for having me today. Thank you so much.
Why don't you, in your voice, tell us who is Hany Adam?
Well, in a nutshell, Hany Adam is engineer by study and real estate by profession. I graduated from Cairo University in Egypt with a degree in civil engineer, and I came to Canada about 22 years ago. I couldn't become a professional engineer back then, so I decided to go back to school, and I studied computer science and worked there, work my from the ground up until I became like a manager for the IT department in one of the 500 Fortune companies. And I decided about 12 years ago right now, 12 years ago, to move back to real estate as a full-time broker, as a kind of change and more challenge for myself, on a daily basis.
Well, and I think you're looking forward to continue making that change for your clients and really leading to make sure that they have the best experience. So we want to hear about that today. What I want to hear from you is, what impact do you think that you're making on the real estate market and with the people that you work with?
Oh, that's a really great question, because most people or most real estate agents think of a real estate as a buy and sell only. They forget that the most important part for client, which is how to educate a client to become part of your team. You're not only leading the client, but you inspire clients to take a correct decision or a right decision when they purchase or when they acquire their home, which is the dream home for themselves. Also, you inspire them or guide them through the selling process in case if they want to sell their house for, of course, it must be for a top dollar and with less and less hassles. So it's kind of nothing. It all boils down to training people on what to do and show them what to do and leading them to get to the right path in that particular process.
And you mentioned something that I think can help our listeners understand. Some people may be saying, well, wait a minute, what does real estate have to do with leadership? And the thing that comes to mind is, you mentioned it, you're helping them buy their dream home. You're helping them buy their home.
Correct.
We work every single day. Most of us work for a living. We wait to get a paycheck, and then we purchase a home or we rent a home. It's the roof over our shoulders. So it's where we feel safe, right? And what you're doing, essentially, you're helping people make a decision that impacts everything that they do every single day. So when it comes to that relationship with your client, it's got to be a relationship of trust, a relationship where they can look to you as a subject matter expert and somebody who's going to help them make sure that they make a decision they're not going to wake up in a year or two unless they're flipping. They're in for the long term. I mean, they're in there for
Exactly.
many years. So they trust you. How do you
Exactly.
build that trust with your clients?
Sh- uh, you know what, Muhammad? I'll tell you something. People buy from people who first know, then like and trust. Okay, in order to in order to build a rapport, or in order to build a trust relationship, first of all you have to know who you are dealing with. Again, and second, you have to like them, because you might know somebody, or you hear about somebody, he's a great hero or a great, big shot in the industry, but technically you don't like, you guys don't click. So first you have to know, you have to like, and then you have to build the trust. Trust is just kind of a great relationship. It strengthens the relationship between the client and the broker, or the agent, to make sure the process will flow smoothly. Because some hurdle throughout the process might make this relationship shake a little bit. But if you start on a wrong foot, or if you start on um, not trusting the people who you're dealing with, that's going to be like a recipe for disaster. So
Right.
as I said, you must have a trust. And again, yes, leadership and real estate is, I would say it's kind of like hand in hand. Again, what's the difference between you lead a team in one of the Fortune 500 company, or you build the team in a small, where you have a small family, husband, wife, or spouses, and 3, 4 kids, and you become part of their team to help them guide, and help them like pick the right choice for themselves, in terms of what's going to happen in the future.
And that's a beautiful concept. You're becoming part of the family unit. You're helping that family make a decision about one of the most important decisions they'll make it without their life. And
Right.
you're giving that trust, you're extending that trust, and you're saying, you can put your faith in me. And I think that resonates with a lot of people. But I want to know, you mentioned, whether you're leading a team at a Fortune 500 company, or whether you're working with a family unit to help them make a decision. What do you define as a good leader? What does leadership look like to you?
Leadership, I would say, if you if I want to describe a leadership in few words, leadership might be, or part of it should be, like innovation. Okay, and second part I would say is kind of inspiration. Okay, and third, helping people to change. Okay, when I said innovation, you must be an innovative person in order to find a way to think outside the box, to sail through the process itself, and make sure your client are safe and sound. Okay, that's in terms of innovation. And in order to be innovative, you have to be very have great skills, and sharpen your skills on a daily basis. Okay, inspiration, when you inspire people, because sometimes throughout the process you might see some sort of a downtime, or anxiety, or angry, and stuff like that. So your job here, as a part of this team, is to inspire, whether inspire a group of people, or inspire your team at work, or inspire even a family to to go through this decision, to tell them, well, wait a minute, yes, we have some hard time, but that's not going to be it. Okay, let's focus on our goal, and we will reach our goal. So that's kind of inspiring. Helping people to change, might, even if in a small scale, by correcting your client thoughts about certain thing or idea, and try to show him or demonstrate how this part works. They might end up changing their thought. Well, yes, I can see where you're coming from, and now I understand. So let's change my original perspective and move forward. So that's
So
kind of
yeah. So your definition of leadership there is really built on trust. I've always said that trust is the foundation of great leaders. If you don't use it as the currency of, for every transaction, then you've got nothing. You're building a home with no foundation, right? And
absolutely.
you would never sell a home that has no foundation.
Oh,
You
hell
would
no.
never, right? So you would never
Absolutely.
want to work in a relationship that doesn't have a strong foundation. So we've established for you trust is key, and you want to inspire the people that you work with. You're a subject matter expert, and they're coming to you to help them make the right decision, because maybe you don't always agree with them, right? But
No.
you're going to be that go-to person. So explain to me, when you unpack leadership in the real estate market, right? and you use that as a differentiator why somebody would come to you or go to somebody else, what are some qualities? Give me 3 qualities that help you lead every single day.
Okay, so as you mentioned earlier, the trust. Trust is the big part. The reason why, okay, you might be very well skilled person, but lack of trust won't fly. Okay, what's it, what's the, I would say, what's the idea of somebody use a guy or a girl or an agent or subject matter expert, as you mentioned, where there is no trust. Okay? Because remember, you're dealing with the most expensive asset anybody can gain, regardless. You might. I have seen some people live in a condo which might cost $3, 4, $500,000. On the other hand, people might live in a houses worth 10, 12, 13, or maybe $50 million house. Okay. At the end of the day, everybody have the most expensive piece of asset in their life, whether when they acquire it or when they dispose it. Okay. So in order for them to deal with a subject matter expert, number one, they have to trust. Okay. Second, they have to trust their knowledge and skills. Okay. So trust you as a person. Okay. You have a person who has principles, has morals, has ethics. And second, like, trust the person in terms of his skills or her skills. They must know. I always use this example when I would say, if you are going, or somebody was going to have a heart surgery, okay, do you think, like, we would go to somebody he doesn't even trust? Of course not. If somebody told you, well, the success rate for this surgeon is 6 out of 10, or actually 5 out of 10, would you even bother even to go? Of course not. Of course not. So at least you have to deal with somebody with a good track record. Where is all this track record comes from? From leading people to understand the whole idea, the whole scenario, and think about. And you teach him from the get go. Tell him, listen, this my name is. That's my track record. Take a look at my track record and see. Do you think I'm the person you can trust to handle this process, to acquire your most expensive asset, or to dispose or to sell the most expensive asset you have in your life? That's how it always works.
When Stephen Covey talks about relationships and trust, he talks about us having, trust is based on integrity, it's based on character and competence, right? So exactly what you're talking about, it's based on the integrity of that person and the character to be somebody seen as worthy of, worthy of me extending my trust to them, that I can trust this person, that they are an honest person, they're transparent, they govern themselves by values that resonate with me, values of talking straight and, building a relationship that's founded on strong character values, right? But also, you can be the nicest guy, but if you don't know what you're doing, you're still not getting my business. So, I've got to go to somebody who knows what they're talking about, somebody who's been around the block a few times, has seen a few homes, right? Somebody who understands the business. So that, conversely, I can go to the expert, but if they can't hold a relationship, if they can't be trusted,
no,
they can be the best in the business based on their competence. But if they don't have that character, that strong character that's going to earn my trust, then I can't work with them. So it's really important that, we understand leadership, and whatever we're doing, it's about creating that level of trust based on our integrity, on our character, and based on the skills and the competencies that we have. So, and again, bringing it into the real estate markets, because sometimes, we can look and we can say, well, they're just in it for themselves, right? They're in it to make a good dollar. And we know it could be a very lucrative business, and that's good. You work hard. But at the end of the day, you're helping me make a decision, like you said, about the most important asset, and probably one of the most important decisions that I'll make in my life. So let me ask you, when it comes to helping somebody make that decision, they read into you to see how emotionally intelligent you are. Do you care about them? Do you understand their needs? Do you understand your needs, right? So emotional intelligence helps us understand our awareness of ourselves and awareness of others. inevitably it helps us build those relationships. On a scale of 1 to 10, how emotionally intelligent do you believe you are? And tell me
Well,
why.
well, there's no, you know, it's very really hard question because I'm not sure. Like,
You want to say 12, right? On
I
a
would,
scale of
I
1 to
would,
10, you want to
I
say
would,
12.
but I don't want to toot my horn, so I would leave it up to people who can tell how emotionally intelligent I am. But just to give you some examples, as you know, our business based on three major characters, okay, which is number one, the real estate broker, number two, the mortgage broker, and number three, the lawyer. Okay, but in order for me to lead this team, okay, at the background of the transaction or of the process, I must tell you something. Um, I have to match people with certain people on my team. What I mean by that, I work with almost 22 mortgage brokers, okay, and about 8 lawyers. They are all on my team, correct? So, of course, off and on, just to let you know. So, let's pretend I have a meeting with you, an initial meeting. I decide, and we decided to the outline of the whole process. I talk to you. I understand your character. So, right on that, I know exactly which one of my team will step in and help you the most. Some people need, results. They are people like result driven. Some people are process driven, correct? So which one is which? If I got somebody, let's say you have a transaction and I put you with a lawyer who focus mainly on results, and you're on the other hand a process driven, do you think you guys would click? Of course not. You see? So you have to understand what kind of character you're dealing with, what type of personality people you're dealing with in order to match them with the best. Because there's no favoritism here. All are good. Yeah, like my team are excellent, but it's kind of different characters. Who match who? Who would sit down and listen and answer each and every single question in more details? Or somebody who would answer the question with yes, no, maybe. Okay, some people need this. Oh, can I do this? No. Can I do this? Yes. Well, yeah, maybe. And some people need to know, like, oh, yeah, you said yes, and why? So you match your client with whoever can serve them to the fullest. That's why. I think that's part of, I learned it throughout the years. I wasn't that good at it, and I'm still learning. Let's put it this way.
You know, Learning is part of life. We're going to be
Of
learning
course.
every single day. I think the day that I say I've learned everything that I need to learn,
Oh, no,
I'm gonna drop dead because
no.
I'm a continuous learner. I believe that we learn from cradle to the grave, right? We learn from the moment that we come into this world to the moment that we leave. It's a learning process, and learning to to get along with others, learning to make the best experience with others. Leadership is a very diverse it's a very diverse concept. And I think leadership is a mindset, right? It's
Correct.
not a role, it's not a position, it's not anything that somebody bequeaths to us. This is something that we learn every single day. We're evolving into becoming a better leader, a better version. And some people say to me, well, I'm a leader and I have followers. I say, well, I could be a leader in a certain area and I'm a follower in another area,
Correct.
right? And this is recognizing. I think this is why I believe in servant leadership and leading from the heart, because we approach leadership that we're not. It's not dictatorship. It's not right. This is about us recognizing where we may be the subject matter expert in a certain field, or we may be the best person for that person to lean on and rest because they need that support. So we could be a particular leader for that particular situation, the situational leadership, right? We have to recognize that we're also not going to be the leader for everything. And there are people that
No.
we're going to look to lead
Yeah.
us. And that's part of the learning, right? So let me ask you, if you could go back and tell your 20-year-old something, what would you tell that 20-year-old? Talking about learning, what would you want that 20-year-old Hany to learn, to know? What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
I would have, that's a really awesome question. Um, knowing what I know right now, I wish I go back to to 20s. Like, but again, as you know, hindsight is always 2020. You
We're
can't.
25 now, right?
Exactly. If I go back 5 years, 5 years in time, I would definitely say to myself, um, always expand your horizon. Always read, 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 and learn, learn, learn. Don't stop. Because in order, as I said earlier, like in order to be innovative, how would you be innovative in your area? You must know all input and output about it. You have to know. I know some people, treat their business, treat their leadership as I see it on my own eyes, and you see it too. I'm a leader. So how do you describe yourself as a leader? Oh, I can drive the car. Oh yeah, perfect. But driving the car wouldn't qualify you to become a leader. But I've seen some people they drive a car, but they don't know what's under the hood. They think, oh yeah, my car is 125 horsepower. They think if you open the hood, they will find 125 horse. Why I'm saying that? Because in my definition of a leadership, I should know every single person who works on my team what he does in such details. I'm not gonna say like turn around and micromanage everybody, but at least I should know, okay? Because somebody might come to you and says, "Well, it took me 3 days to do this, this project." Okay, no, this project only needs a couple hours, not 5 days. You see the difference. So at least you should know not in details because you're not subject matter expert. Like for instance, I'm not a lawyer, okay, but I know what the lawyer does. So if the lawyer comes back to me and says, "Hey, you know what? I did the acquisition. It took me 3 days." That's 5 minute job, buddy. Okay, and if the internet is down, it's gonna take you 10. Simple as that. Not take you 3 days. So you should know each and every one who does what and know exactly how to lead these people. So leading by example, for instance. Okay. So back again to your question about what I should tell Annie. And instead of me laser focus, I should expand, the learning. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now, which I always tell myself or call myself I'm an education junkie. So, but I wish I was an education junkie. Takes a
Yeah.
few years
If you're
ago.
going to be a junkie, that's the best kind of junkie to be. So, speaking of being an education junkie, what is your favorite book or what's the best book that you've read most recently?
Well, I read lots of books, and I always constantly read. But again, like Think and Grow Rich for Napoleon Hill was one of the best book I've ever read, and that's kind of I would say the Bible for people who strive for success. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it has lots and lots of examples for people.
Can you share one particular example? What was it that really moves you to love this book?
You know, he always talk about the most successful people in throughout the years in history, in economy. Like he always tell how these people start because he interviewed lots and lots of successful people and lay out the ground for everybody. Trust me, you might find in that particular book not every chapter, not every page you would benefit from, but one of the stories would click with you, would resonate with who you are, and it says, well, that's my blueprint for my future. If you follow it to the T, you will have a big, big change in your life.
Right. So let me ask you, what would you tell your 80-year-old self?
Well, that's really hard. If I well, I would say to my 80 years old, life is too short and never slow down. Keep going. That's
Like that.
exactly what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that constant learning, that constant,
Yes.
keep head right. And I think about, and maybe in real estate, you want to be doing this for the rest of your life, maybe, right? I
Absolutely.
don't see myself as retiring. I'd
Oh, no.
like to see myself eventually not needing to work, but that'd be a nice luxury. But I see myself as wanting to be of service to others, wanting to make a difference, right? And so long as I'm getting up, I want to make sure that my days have some sort of purpose.
Exactly.
What gets you out of bed? What's your purpose for getting up every day?
Helping people. I mean, it's not. Sometimes like people think it's kind of a slogan has which has no meaning. But trust me, for me, and I proved it to myself throughout the coronavirus when everybody was locked down, do absolutely nothing. I keep posting stuff on the social media. It says, guys, if somebody needs help, I'm here. I always drive people, not even for work. I drive people like me to do run their own errands. I shop for people for groceries. Some older people I can shop for the medication or their groceries and stuff like that. So that would make you always jump out of the bed, not get out of the bed, because you feel your day is full of purpose. You need to do something. You need to help people. So being a helpful person, it's always goes all long way. Never, and it never. When everything is shut down, like I always outside every single day. I would definitely, I can tell you something. Throughout the Corona, since I would say like let's say March till now, I probably never stayed home for more than 5 6 days. I can't. I mean, I cannot die. I can't. I always on the go. So you always find that something to do, even to help people.
We're speaking of Corona and we've been socially isolating, and especially, things are maybe a little easier right now. We've entered phase three here in Ontario, and fortunately in other places like Toronto, Mississauga, you've entered in phase three. But let me ask you, how did Corona impact your ability to get things done and to help other people?
Well, for me personally, it did not. Uh, you know, Actually, you know what? Because again, and that would take us back to the education and how to read the inputs. Most people think, oh, you know what? The market gonna go down. The market would collapse. Blah blah blah. As a matter of fact, like I landed nice deals for everybody. Okay, throughout coronavirus, because I know things gonna move fast. Why? Because I learned. Why? Because I read before. Why? Because I studied the market. Okay, so it's constant learning curve for everybody. But most people who is like use this one as as the example I laid down like earlier about oh yeah, I'm a leader because I can drive a car. No, 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 no. Everybody can will, keep saying the market will collapse. I was one among few people who said the market will go up. And again, here I am back, like let's say like what 6 months later, and that proved my point.
And,
It's not.
and I think in times of crisis, people are looking to us to help them make even a better decision. I mean, I would hope that we're always helping people make the best decision. But when things are uncertain, we're going to be leading with fear. We're going to be distrusting others. We're going to be just, lacking trust in our own capabilities and the decisions that we make. So, I don't know. I don't know if I would have bought a house or sold my home during COVID, right? We're still there. But if I'm entertaining that idea, I would really want to work with somebody that I completely trust, because this is a time where I don't want to make a mistake. It seems that, in times of crisis, um, it's even more, the risk is greater,
Correct.
right? So that level of trust really has to be there. So we speak of fear and the fear that we've all developed over the past few months, and I'd like to think that I'm a person that doesn't live with fear. We all have different levels of fear, but what is something that has maybe instilled some fear in you in your life?
It's really a great question when you define the fear. Fear is always let me put it in the right context here. We need to have fear, okay, because but it has to be um, uh, in a moderate scale or in a moderate spectrum, okay, because no fear is crazy. Okay, imagine a child 3 years old can run, okay, across the street and can get hit by a car, or somebody on the other side of the spectrum is fearing everything. That's phobia. Okay, so fear is required. It's like a salt in the food. Food without salt, it's you cannot
Yeah,
taste it. Too much salt in the food, even you
it
cannot
can't.
even swallow.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So fear is there, but don't make the fear control your decision. Don't make the fear, control your destiny. Always think about it as a precaution. Okay, not a reason to quit, not a reason to change your mind, not a reason to take a drastic decision to change your life like that. Oh, I know, I cannot. No, no, that's you need some support here. You need some help.
I
But
really like that. You encourage me to challenge what I always say, which is, oh, I'm fearless. But you're right. Fear can actually be another level of awareness because, it's like the butterflies when we get on the stage. We don't want a colony of butterflies in our stomach and we don't want to get that nervous. But a little bit of stage fright keeps us on our toes. It keeps us, so I guess a bit of fear or a bit of awareness that, it's maybe looking at all the options, looking at the things that can go wrong.
exactly,
It's really just saying, well, what could happen and
exactly,
how should I make the best decision? So, I guess if we're looking at fear, maybe it's a way of saying, how can I be aware of the things that maybe I'm not even taking into consideration so that they don't end up being the things that tear me down and push me and cause me to fall. And then, fear becomes an overwhelming sensation that I can't even get back up.
that's
I like
correct.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
no problem. If you want to elaborate on the word the fear, okay, right now the airplanes or flights are are on autopilot, correct? From the gate to gate, the programmed system to be from gate to gate on autopilot. But guess what? They put a pilot, they pay him a big buck. You know why? Because they fear something must go wrong.
Just in case.
That's just in
I see
case.
that.
So that's why.
Yeah.
So fear is required. Unlike most people says, oh yeah, no, 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 you don't have
I
to
like that.
charge. You see what I'm saying?
It's the pilot that keeps me focused on where I'm going. I like that. So let me ask you, if you were going to a deserted island, let's say that you're on a deserted island, what three things would you take with you?
Oh my God, yeah, that's a really tough question.
Is your wife in the room?
No, she's not. Okay,
Okay.
actually,
All
it's
right,
not.
you can be honest with me now.
Okay, so yeah, if you go on a desert island, I believe you must have you must think about how you're gonna survive. So your mind should dictate. If of course, like if you have a chance to think about what you take with you, so you have to think about how you're gonna survive in the desert island. And I would say, like, first of all, like you need water because water would be like one of the things that you must need it on and on. Second, I would say I would take like a Swiss Army knife because it has more tools you can use it to. But one of the good ones, not the not the knockout copies. It would definitely help you over there. One more thing you can take is I would say like what like a magnifying glass in order to light some wood in order to cook your food and stuff. You will survive. You're not
So
gonna take your phone or
you mean you won't take your iPhone with you
oh, I
to
won't.
sustain home? And it's funny because when we think about the most basic things that govern how we lead ourselves and how we lead others, I think we need to come back down to the fundamentals. We need to think about if I was on a deserted island, the things that I think are important to me today may not be important to keep me alive or to keep me in survival mode. And I think if we have that vision on a daily basis, what are the fundamental things that I need to be a good leader, to inspire people? I say that leadership is about involving others, making sure they weigh in so they can buy in, being the sort of leader that can influence others, but to use your influence positively, to help people rise, right? And then to be that role model. Nobody wants to role play and fake it, right? You need to be that person that they look to and say, I believe in you, I trust you, you've got character, you've got competency, and you're going to help me make a decision. And what you've taught me a lot of things today. You've helped me evaluate that when it comes to these decisions that we make, whether we're buying a home or whether we're choosing a partner or whether we're making a decision on a particular project at work or in our community, the fundamentals are really important. And
Exactly. Go to the
that
basics.
awareness is really important. So sometimes weighing out our options. My last question for you, Hany, is this. So with all my guests, I ask them to help me craft the unfiltered thought of the week. So this podcast is called the Unfiltered Podcast, right? Because we want to unpack everything about leadership, these fundamental values that talk to us as strong human beings who can inspire others to create better versions of ourselves, to make positive impact in our homes, right, in our workplaces, in our communities. We want to be, there's no BS here. So what you see is what you get. The authenticity has to be before us, behind us, all around us, right? So in my podcast, I ask my dear guests to share with me the unfiltered thought of the week. And that is, if you could give somebody one piece of unfiltered advice about becoming the best version of themselves, what would Hany Adam tell them?
Well, I tell you, me as a Hany Adam, as a personal quote, I use it for years, and every time I feel down, I always refer to this quote. That might help people, move forward. It's a really simple quote from the Zig Ziglar. My favorite. I would say my favorite mentor and trainer. He used to say, if you want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. I always tell it to everybody, because think about it, as small and simple it is, it's really, really deep. Okay? Most people always try to find an excuse rather than finding a way. So it's, the sky's the limit. The challenge is endless. So, but you must find a way. And
so rise to it, rise to the challenge. And the unfiltered thought of the week is, if you want to do it, you will find a way. And if you don't,
you'll find an
excuse. That's powerful. Hany, I'm glad that we found a way to get together today to discuss and to share ideas. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
It's such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And keep being the unfiltered leader that you are. Take care of yourself.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Unfiltered, the show about authentic leadership and personal growth. Like what you heard? Click subscribe, share it, and tell a friend about it. And don't forget to leave a rating.